It's time for the most controversial slot in the history of Irish sports media. It's that time of the week. It's the very latest edition of our Specsavers Power Rankings. Eoin has been working away very hard to bring us the incorruptible Power Rankings.
The only thing that's going to be wrong is your statement there that they're the most controversial list. There is nothing controversial about this. People moan a lot. People like to think controversy exists. They like to get a bit of paranoia going on in their head. But these Specsavers Power Rankings are absolutely bang on the money, as we already said. Let's get cracking into these. Half of these basically are out of the championship already, from New York in 33, London in 32, Wexford in 31, and no non-movers all the way basically down to number 16 if you want to move right on to the next page here.
Limerick, Antrim, Carlow. 24 Louth, 23 Leitrim, 22 Tip, 21 Longford, 20 Offaly, 19 Derry, 18 down Westmeath. They're down a slot.
No. The Westmeath are staying put at 17, and we'll move on to our first mover of the day, which is Laois at 16, down 2 places after getting knocked out of the championship by Cork at the weekend. Fermanagh are, by extension of that move for Laois, up 1. They obviously didn't play at the weekend, but at the end of their season, and then at the end of Laois's season, I'm deeming Fermanagh to be a better team than Laois. There's been a bit of confusion here about criteria.
There's a case for Fermanagh to be further up, right? And
yes.
I think now that enough results have come out. So who beat Fermanagh? Donegal beat them.
Donegal and Monaghan.
And Monaghan beat them, and they gave Donegal a game.
Yeah.
Did they really? I mean,
they lost by 6 points. Granted, they only scored 9 points, and that's why they're 15th. That's why they're not 12th or 11th here.
They gave Monaghan a game.
They gave Monaghan a game. It was 110 to 1-6 against Monaghan. So Fermanagh not exactly free scoring, and I do like my free scorers. I tend to favour attacking teams in this power rankings, and that is probably the main reason why Fermanagh aren't threatening the top dozen teams here. So there has been some confusion about the criteria here, and the criteria isn't necessarily the most important thing about the power rankings. It's all about the feel. It's all about what your instinct tells you about a team. That is the most important criteria here. But if we are to put it down to any tangible things, it is based on recency. It is based on recent results. And just because it's a results basis doesn't mean that it's based on things that aren't results either. So if you get a good result, say, in a Munster final like Kerry did, which was winning the game, that doesn't mean it's the closed book, because Kerry weren't exactly amazing in that. So I hope that makes sense to people out there who are questioning my criteria, because obviously, as Jura said, they are incorruptible.
Yeah, but there's a case for Fermanagh to be higher up. There's a case for Clare to be above.
Well, yeah, let's go through these. So Clare are up 1 to 14. And again, they are the 2 teams who leapfrog Laois, who are down to 16. Kildare are staying put at 13, a non-mover. Their summer is done after they were dumped out a couple of weeks ago by Tyrone. Monaghan have now dropped 2 points. I held on to Monaghan in the top 10 for a while, but I think at this point, on the basis of where the teams are at now, I've dropped them down to 12. It's hard to see them dropping any further than that, and I can actually categorically say they will not drop any further than that this summer, because everybody who's behind them is already out of this summer's championship. Meath and Cork are the benefactors. They're the people who move up. They go up to 11 Meath, Cork up to 10, still keeping the order of Cork ahead of Meath, which is the thing that caused most controversy last week. Ridiculously caused most controversy last week. People trying to take what I said as some sort of statement that Meath are a terrible team, or that Meath don't deserve to be in the Super 8. All I'm saying is that Cork are better than Meath.
Oh, we'll see.
Slightly. They're 1 place ahead of them. There's Andy McEntee's reaction when he heard about Meath being behind Cork.
Hey, he's got his mouth open and he's screaming for our radio listeners.
Armagh are a non-mover at number 9, and then we get into the top 8. And there's really only one mover in the top 8 here, because I got it so bang on the money last week that there was no need to shuffle anything really, except for Cavan being down to 8 and Galway leapfrogging them up to 7. On the basis of what happened at the weekend, Galway are a better side than Cavan. Cavan really putting up 7 points against Tyrone was a terrible performance. Who else should be in there?
Well, did Galway make the Super 8s? Can we go back to the...
You're one of these Twitter trolls who's like,
I'm not a Twitter troll. I'm literally sitting beside you, so I'm not a Twitter troll. This is not on Twitter, although maybe individual Twitter. Can we go back to the one before that, sorry, and I'll tell you all the teams who should be above Galway at this point. So Galway were abject, right? Couldn't even get a forward to take a penalty against a Mayo team on the rack. Couldn't get a free to someone to kick over a free from 40 yards. So Armagh should be above Galway at this point. Cork and Meath, who are in the Super 8s, by definition, are in the top 18 in the country. I understand it's a quirk of how the championship structures are actually nonsense.
Yeah.
But Cork and Meath both deserve to be. Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Will Cork or Meath beat Galway right now?
I think they probably would.
That's your opinion. I don't think they would. I clearly don't think they would. I don't think Cork or Meath.
This week, right after. So we saw what happened to Westmeath hurlers when they had to go back out having been beaten in a big game. You're saying that rabble of a Galway team this week, having been on the beer and celebrating whatever it is or commiserating with each other, throw in a game either in Meath or Cork or at a neutral venue, sticking that alone for all you want, for all I care, for Limerick, if it's Cork.
Mullingar probably.
Well, I'm telling you right now that Cork and Meath coming off a win are both beating Galway.
Like, I just don't think... Here's we've got a tweet here from @Poddy P saying, just heard a story of a Cork footballer going into a shop in West Cork this morning, only for the owner to hand 2 complimentary steaks to enable him to be ready for the dubs. Football matters, they say. I'm not sure, like, just going back to your point there, Galway beat Mayo or Meath or Cork if they play tomorrow morning. I'd be slightly confident of that. Like, there isn't a huge gulf between them here. There's only 4 places between them. We're not talking about a massive chasm between them.
But they do need to, like, as a result of their abject failure this year to build on last year, they need to be kicked out of the top 8. There should be repercussions for real world activity in the power rankings.
There is repercussions. Some people at the start of the year were making this ridiculous prediction that Galway are a better team than Mayo, just because of what they managed to achieve last year. That is nonsense, and that is replicated in these power rankings. They've taken enough beating in this. Cavan, they can thank Cavan for being even worse than they were at the weekend, and that has allowed them to rise. I cannot, for one reason, at this point, see why they should be below Cork or Meath. If Cork or Meath manage to impress us all and beat a Super 8s team, then they deserve to be there. Galway have shown pedigree in recent times. Let's not forget that. Just because I'm saying that it's based on recency doesn't mean that everything we've seen before goes out the window. There is nuance here. It is not based on one single element of the criteria.
Cavan are a perfect example of a team who does not understand the competition they're playing in. They put all their chips into the centre of the table for an Ulster title because they haven't won one in decades, and as soon as that's gone, their heads go, and they weren't even in the game against Tyrone. It was like they didn't bother showing up for it.
They could have drawn Laois. They could have drawn Laois and Cork could have drawn Tyrone.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they actually would have won a game. It looked like they were broken.
So now you're saying that Laois are better than Cavan?
I think they were broken by... I'm not. I'm saying that Cavan were broken by the draw, first off, when they saw Tyrone, and they were broken by the fact that they lost a game, even though they knew there was another game the following week after it.
This is a Cavan team that had beaten Monaghan, that had took 2 games to beat Armagh. So over the course of 2 games.
You're not in the top 8 anymore. You can't be in the top 8.
So what are you doing? So are you dropping Armagh below Meath and Cork as well?
Well, I'm dropping Cavan below Meath and Cork. And...
do you know what you are? You just have the smug smirk of an elitist analyst off you. All you care about is the Super 8s. Football is more important than just the Super 8s.
You have
just because you made it to the Super 8s doesn't mean that you are one of an elite group of people that can only make your way into the Super 8s. Sometimes injustice happens, and an injustice has happened every year in the history of the GAA because the provincial championships are so unequal. And that is why you can have a top 8 that doesn't exclusively include the Super 8s.
Okay, so let's keep going, right?
Sorry, Galway 7. Up 1, and the rest are non-movers, as I said.
Galway have gone up.
Yes, because Cavan were worse than Galway were at the weekend.
So Galway, abject failures, play rubbish football and go up in your power ranking.
You would leave them behind Cavan. You would leave them behind Cavan after last weekend.
I would leave them both out, and I'd stick until they prove us wrong. I would stick Meath and Cork in the top 8 for now. Right, and if they lose every game,
that's not how these works. They haven't shown the power that these power rankings are based on, the mystical thing that will propel them to the top table, and the top table is the top 8. For me, like I said,
Fitzmaurice is tipping Cork to do well against Dublin at the weekend.
And has that game happened yet?
No, but at least
exactly. They haven't done well against Dublin yet. Just because somebody's thinking they're going to do well against Dublin doesn't mean they are going to do well against Dublin.
You said that they performed surprisingly well against Kerry.
They did. They were very good, and that's why they're 10. They're in the top 10, Cork. Like, this is a team that got relegated to Division 3. I'd had them up for at the position 12 before the Kerry game.
No one cares about the league.
We knew this was coming. They are getting their due credit. They're in the top 10. Roscommon, let's go into the top 6 here. Roscommon non-mover at 6. Kerry still in at number 5. Mayo in at number 4. Tyrone are team number 3. Donegal holding on to their number 2 spot. I just think that after the result against Tyrone, they have to still be ahead of them. And Dublin, of course, number 1. So this is where we're at the moment. As I say, no movers from 6 to 1. People would have perhaps criticised the fact that Mayo and Tyrone were so high after, provincial defeats. But clearly, I might have been proved right here.
Okay, I'm willing to give you that Mayo and Tyrone. Although, I don't know, I wasn't that impressed by Mayo's performance. Like, talking to some Mayo people around the office, they don't care about the manner of their victory. But, like, Mayo had that game home and hosed after about 20 minutes, right? And yet, they managed to make a game of it the whole way through to the 74th minute.
No question there are worries about this Mayo team. This is not a perfect team whatsoever. But is the way they managed to, lose their concentration a little bit, is that a bigger worry than Kerry's defensive problems? The answer is no. No, it is not. Mayo have, on merit, replaced Kerry as number 4 team. Granted, it happened last week in these power rankings. Even though Roscommon beat them, I still don't think it's representative of where the teams are at in terms of Roscommon and Mayo. If this game, as I made that point at the time, if you played that game 10 times with all of Mayo's resources available to them, or most of the resources available
the resources available on that day, if they play with that team and that those resources available, you can't suddenly parachute in like the ghost of Billy Joe Padden, like Willie Joe.
No, senior inter-county player.
I mean, come on.
To be fair, at the time of the Roscommon game, they did have Matthew Moran available. They did have Diarmuid O'Connor available. They didn't have Killian O'Connor available. So it shifted a bit. Like, you've got Cohen, who's got a lot of confidence into himself. You've got the goalkeeper situation sorted out. That was a big issue against Roscommon as well. So I don't think there's any argument there.
Was there ever a penalty in history that you were like, I'm 90% certain this is going to be a save by the goalkeeper?
The probability is actually flipped entirely into the goalkeeper's favour here.
Mayo might be the next team to score off the back of this. But it definitely felt like there was, he's very big in that goal and your shoulders are a bit slumped there. That didn't look like it was
When people talk about Mayo's window of winning in All-Ireland, I wonder, is it actually David Clarke's window of a goalkeeper? Are they the two very similar things? I think they might be. I don't think we kind of appreciate just how good he is.
Okay, that is your OTB AM Gaelic Football Power Rankings, brought to you by Specsavers, official sponsor of GAA Hawkeye. Phil Egan is in studio next.